Across the Grand Line, where only the strongest survive, one swordsman carves his path to becoming the strongest, and his blade cuts down all who stand in his way. This is the SH Figuarts Roronoa Zoro. Let's unsheath this review. From the seas to your shelf, Bandai delivers a package worthy of the pirate hunter himself. The front of the box gives us a promo shot of the figure, showing off that signature scowl that says, "I have 3 swords and 0 patience." Right below, we have the Bandai and Tamashii Nations logos, ensuring this is official and not some bootleg you'd find in a shady Logtown alley. The sides of the box feature different facial expressions, because let's be real, Zoro may be serious 90% of the time, but he does have range, especially when getting lost. The other side has his name and another promo shot at the bottom. The back of the box shows off his articulation and accessories, teasing us with poses that scream, "I'm about to cut you down in a single strike!" And the top, it has a hat-shaped window, just in case you want to see Zoro struggling to find the exit before you even open the box. Alright, let's talk about this absolute beast of a figure, because wow, Bandai really went all out on this one. This might just be my favorite Zoro design in the entire One Piece Figuarts lineup. First up, the hair. Zoro's got that iconic light green, spiky look, and Bandai sculpted it perfectly. Sharp, clean, and full of attitude. It's like they plucked him straight out of the anime and dropped him into plastic form. His gold earring, painted flawlessly. No smudges, no mistakes. Unlike Usopp's bounty posters. Seriously, who keeps messing those up? And his face sculpt? Spot on. He's got that serious, battle-ready look that basically says, "Try me, and you'll get sliced in half." Now, let's talk about the outfit. Zoro's rocking his classic white t-shirt, and check this out. The collar is unbuttoned. Because why button up when you have 3 swords? Huh? He's also got his armband. And yep, it's removable. A nice touch for accuracy. But let's be real, this guy could lose all his accessories and still look badass. Now, the Haramaki sash. Bandai used soft plastic here, so it doesn't restrict movement, and it holds his sword holder in place at his side. Speaking of, you can detach the sword holder, but you can't remove the sheaths, just the handles. Which makes sense because if the whole sword came out, I'd be questioning what kind of devil fruit magic Bandai used to make it work. And here's where the attention to detail really shines. If you want to pose him holding his swords, you can actually remove the handles and swap them out with the full swords. It makes total sense, and honestly, it's a genius way to avoid bulky, unrealistic sheaths. No awkwardly forcing a blade through a too small opening. No risk of breaking parts, just smooth, seamless posing. Bandai, you really thought this through. Moving on to the lower half, his pants have a subtle green hue under the right lighting. It adds some depth to the sculpt, making them look more dynamic, and the folds, perfectly sculpted. Even when he's standing still, it looks like he's mid-motion, ready to strike. His boots have a bit more gloss than his pants, which gives them just the right amount of pop. Not too shiny, not too dull, just enough to say, yeah, I've walked through countless battlefields. What about it? And if you look closely, they even have a subtle green hue to them, tying in perfectly with his overall color scheme. It's a small detail, but it adds to that signature Zoro aesthetic, because let's be real, this man is always about that green life. Overall, this figure is an absolute win. Easily one of the best Zoro figures out there. He looks like he's about to take on an entire Marine squad in one move, and let's be real, he probably could. Alright, let's talk about the insane versatility this figure brings. Because Zoro is not just a swordsman, he's a walking, talking mood board. And Bandai made sure we can capture every single one of them. The angry face. Perfect for when Zoro is mid-battle, yelling at Luffy for being an idiot, or just realizing he took a wrong turn and ended up in Marine HQ again. The happy face. Because even Zoro smiles when there's good sake, a worthy fight, or his bounty just skyrocketed. But wait, there's more. We also get 2 alternate bandana heads, meaning Zoro is in full-on fight mode. Bandana head with open mouth. This one is just straight up badass. Zoro grips the Wado Ichimonji between his teeth, looking like he's about to unleash a 3-sword style finisher. And Bandai actually thought ahead. They added a tiny tab inside his mouth to keep the sword in place. No weird balancing tricks, no awkward slipping, just pure, battle-ready perfection. Bandana head with a grin. This is Zoro at his most confident, bandana tied, teeth showing, looking like he just cut through an entire Navy fleet and still has time for a nap. All right, you want to swap Zoro's bandana head? Listen up, because this is no ordinary face swap. This is a swordsman's transformation. First, pop off the bandana, quick and clean, like a well-timed eye slash. Now switch the face, just as fast as Zoro cutting down 100 enemies. Battle mode or cocky grin. The choice is yours. Snap the bandana back on. And just like that, Zoro's battle ready again. A swordsman's speed isn't just in battle, it's in the details. And that's how you switch Zoro's face, faster than he can draw his blades. Zoro isn't Zoro without his swords, and Bandai knew they couldn't mess this up. This figure comes with his legendary 3-sword style setup. Wado Ichimonji, his signature, most treasured sword, the one he wields with his mouth when he means business. And yes, it actually fits securely thanks to that clever mouth tab. 2 regular katanas. These aren't just for display. They're meant for posing, slashing, and looking like a total menace on your shelf. Whether he's drawing them for battle or holding them mid-strike, the sculpted details are clean, sharp, and anime accurate. And lastly, Zoro also comes with a Luffy DLC Goofy faceplate, because even the pirate hunter can't escape his captain's antics. And of course, we get 3 sets of hands, because a swordsman doesn't just swing a blade, he's got style. Open grasping hands, perfect for dynamic poses. You're just looking like he's about to take a well-earned nap. Sword gripping hands, because what's Zoro without a sword in his hand? Thumb up sword, holding hand, for that extra flair. Whether he's drawing his blade or letting Luffy know he's not getting lost, again. With these, you can pose Zoro however you want, ready to fight, chilling like a badass. Alright, Zoro isn't just about looking cool. He needs to move like a true swordsman. So, let's see if this figure has the flexibility to keep up with Santoryu's style. He can look up pretty well, maybe not enough to find the sunny, but enough for mid-air combat poses. Looking down? No problem. Perfect for staring down weak opponents. His head tilts side to side with great range, so whether he's dodging an attack or just questioning Luffy's life choices, he's got full control. Rotation? Super smooth. Zoro's head can turn all the way around, but let's hope he never needs to do that. Now, the butterfly joints. And wow, these are great. He can bring his arms forward for that iconic 3-sword stance, or pull them back for a strong defensive pose. Full 360-degree rotation? Of course, Zoro doesn't just cut in one direction. The bicep swivel is hidden under the sleeves, keeping it clean and natural. Double-jointed elbows give him plenty of range, so he can actually hold his swords in dynamic poses without looking stiff. And the ball-hinge wrists? Smooth and flexible. Whether he's gripping his swords, resting his hands on his waist, or pointing at Luffy for getting them lost again, he's got the mobility to do it all. Torso articulation? Great! This man trains all day. Of course, he's got flexibility. Ab crunch? Decent. He can lean in for some forward slashes, but don't expect him to do a full sit-up. Bending back? Pretty good. Perfect for dodging low attacks or showing off his insane endurance. Waist articulation? Smooth. He can twist without looking awkward, making for great battle-ready stances. Thigh swivel? Yes, because even the best swordsman needs to pivot. Splits? Surprisingly good. He can spread his legs out wide for solid sword stances. He can kick 90 degrees forward, perfect for knocking out weak opponents. Kickback? It's okay, but let's be real. Zoro's not running away from a fight. Now, the knees. They're single-jointed, which looks great, but doesn't bend fully. Boot swivel? Yes, and it's great. Helps a lot for adjusting those wide stances. Ankle articulation? Pretty solid. He's got enough movement to stay grounded in battle. And finally, a toe hinge for those extra detailed poses, because even Zoro needs balance after a sake night. Overall, this figure moves just as well as you'd expect from the pirate hunter. He's got great flexibility, solid range for dynamic poses, and enough articulation to recreate his most iconic fights. Before we wrap things up, let's talk scale, because size matters when you're taking down an entire Marine squad. Zoro stands at a solid height, fitting right in with other One Piece Figuarts figures. Next to Luffy, perfect height difference. Zoro still looks like the badass first mate, even when Luffy is being, well, Luffy. Next to other SHF figures from different anime lines, he might be slightly taller than some. But hey, it's Zoro, he commands presence. Against villains, he sizes up great, ready to slice through any opponent who underestimates him. At the end of the day, This figure truly captures Zoro's classic look, attitude, and fighting spirit. From the detailed sculpt to the smooth articulation, this is one of the best representations of the future world's greatest swordsman. Sculpt and paint, spot on. Every detail screams Zoro. Articulation, smooth and battle-ready. Just don't expect gymnastics. Accessories, decent, but that Luffy DLC faceplate, a hilarious bonus. If you're a Zoro fan, this is an absolute must-have. Whether you pose him mid-battle or just let him stand there looking cool, he's worth every berry.